Talked about the birthday that's today. That's a big, big birthday.
Yeah, it is.
Kobe Bryant's birthday today. He would have been 46 years old.
46?
46, wow. Yeah. Just incredible. Dude, what is your memory? When you think of Kobe, what is the memory you come with?
I've been asked this question a lot, and I tell the same story every time because it was remarkable. And I've been very blessed and fortunate to have done a lot of cool things, been to a lot of cool games, and gotten to do a lot of cool stuff. But it wasn't maybe just hired, but relatively recently hired. I was doing the early morning show with Kelvin Washington.
Yeah.
And so Kelvin and I were asked to host like a listener meet and greet pre-party before Kobe's last game over here at Tom's Urban at LA Live.
2016.
And we're up there and we're talking with fans. I think we even did a show, like a little 2-hour, whatever. And the game starts and we're having a drink with the fans and we're talking, and Kobe got off to a bad start. Like I don't know if he missed like his first 5 or 6 shots, but he got off to a really slow start.
He was tight.
And it didn't look good. Like he didn't look good. And he, kind of in looking back, Kobe's last couple of years, he was not the Kobe that we think of in our mind's eye. So he got off to a slow, and you're like, oh man, it can't go out like this. And then by the second quarter, he'd kind of found his legs and was making shots. And you're like, okay, we're good. He's going to score 20 some odd points. Perfect. What a way to end it.
Great way to go out. No one's ever done it like that.
So we make our way over at Staples Center at the time, and we're inside the building, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, he's kind of hot. He's going to get to 30. Wow, what a great way to end your career. A 30-point night at 20 years in the NBA, 30-point. And you're like, dude, he's going to get to 40. And then all of a sudden it's can he get to 50?
Yeah.
He can't get to 50. He finishes with 60.
It was insane.
And every time he had the ball, you knew he was going to shoot. Utah probably
They were giving him the ball to shoot.
Yeah, and Utah was not giving him shots, but they were giving him looks, right? And he couldn't miss. It just every time he let it go, bucket, 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 bucket. And he ends with 60 points in the last game. I remember they hand him the mic afterwards and all of the things, all the tributes that were playing during the night. And for me, I know it wasn't the greatest game of his career, but that's the one that I think of first, just because I got to see it with my own two eyes.
We do have John's call. We'll go to it in just a second. But I remember that game very, very differently than you because I'd had a much different experience.
Okay.
But just before we play the call, do you know what his last play of the game was?
Was it a free throw?
No. It was a pass. I think it was to Jordan Clarkson. It was an assist.
Now that you mention it,
it was an assist that he ended his career on an assist. The guy that everyone said he doesn't pass the ball, all those type of things. I love that. That's how he ended his career. All right, do you have that one, Jorge or Emily?
Kobe's second free throw, good. He has 60. The Lakers lead by 3. Here we go. Utah needs a 3 to tie it. Hayward driving down the middle all the way to the rim, lay it up, no good. Rebound grab. Kobe's got it. Length of the court pass to Clarkson. Clarkson at the rim. Slam dunk. Game in the refrigerator. And the Lakers are going to win on Kobe's last night. He's going to score 60. And I don't believe what I just saw.
That's a great call.
Just an amazing call from John. But that night was so cool to me. Like you just told the story of what you did. I had a much different experience. I don't know if you know this story or not. I had just started working here. I started working.
Oh, I know it very well.
I know. Jorge hates the story because Jorge was going to every single game. I got hired in February of 2016, the day after the Super Bowl. So it was February 8th.
Okay.
And this was April. So Jorge was going to every single game.
I was producing that whole season. So
the whole season. I didn't know I took it, but I took his credential. I got to be the one with the credential that day.
Yeah.
And so basically what happened, I went up to John Ireland. He said, "This is what I need from you. I need you to take this headset and this microphone and just walk around and talk to whoever you can talk to and get them on the air."
Like looking for famous people or just
people,
fans?
just to say, hey, what is your thoughts on Kobe's last game?
Okay.
I went up and talked to like Rick Fox, Lamar Odom, David Beckham.
Oh, wow.
It was Kanye West. I was just talking to everybody, Arsenio Hall, anybody that I could possibly get to, I went to and talked to. And then it was right probably in between the first and second quarter, I went over to Jack Nicklaus. Not Jack Nicholson. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I always get those two mixed up. I went over to Jack Nicholson and said, "Hey, would you mind going on the air with John Ireland?" And he was like, "Yeah, let's do it at halftime." I said, "Okay, great." So I come back over with the headset at halftime, and I was like, "Okay, thanks a lot for doing this, Jack. I really, really appreciate it." He takes the headset and he puts it on his leg and just looks at me and goes, But I'm like, well, no, you got to put the headset on your head, and you got to do it. And he goes, this is a great interview. And I was like, all right, never mind. Let me just take all that stuff back, and I walked away.
Oh, so
he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't put it on his head.
It's so funny because when you said he agreed to do it, Jack never showed up anywhere.
No, he agreed.
Anywhere. Yeah.
I went to the Redcoats and was like, "Is it cool if I go talk to him?" No, he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it for Kobe, and I'm happy to do it." And he was absolutely all in on doing it, but he did this. He took the headset and he put it on his leg.
So he couldn't
hear John.
Did John try to talk to him?
I had the microphone to talk to him. And I was like, John, I got him. And he's like, "Oh no." It was on his leg the whole time, so he couldn't hear it. I was like, I'll just take that back. Thanks a lot, Jack. I appreciate your time.
A lot of people don't like it to have on their head because their hair is done a certain way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but it's so real. What's really funny about that? For years after that, John would say, "I talked to Jack Nicholson at the game," and over. And then finally one day it was at the Mandy's one. It felt completely flat. But I was like, John, I got to tell you. You never talked to Jack Nicholson that day.
Oh, wow.
And so now he knows about it now. He's probably come in and talk about it. But that was how I saw that game. I sat next to Robert Horry for a little bit on the sideline. It was the coolest moment of my life.
What I heard, Jorge, is that he met David Beckham before you did.
Oh, no. Okay, so A. Martinez used to do it. Me and you used to do it from that corner right there. Right? So I think it's A. Martinez and me doing it one time. And David Beckham's coming with one of his sons. His son's like, "Hey, Dad, is it cool if I walk to the other side of the court?" And David Beckham's like, "Yeah, sure." So one of the red coaches is like, yeah, come this way. And as he's walking by, I have the video of this. I'm like, "Yo, Bex!" Like, he turns around, and, I wave at him. He waves back. And then years later, I shook his hand.
Yeah, no, I know that's your guy.
Yeah,
I know that's your guy.
Yeah.
Emily, do you have a memory of him, like as a player or anything? He's a little bit, not before your time or anything, but something that jumps to your mind?
I think that game, the game you guys have been talking about is something that, even if you weren't following the NBA closely, is something that, everybody learned about. Even if you didn't follow sports, you knew that Kobe had this amazing last game. I also think about, how he took those free throws with his Achilles.
The Achilles, that's another great one.
That kind of stuff that sticks with you for sure. But I think I also think about him getting up on the table after that championship and just arms spread out.
Was that the one where he pulled his jersey to the side? Yeah. What about you, Jorge?
Yeah, no, that year we're talking about when Amanda and I took over that season. And then Amanda was moving roles, so she's like, "You're just going to take over this whole season." I remember my first game, it was a preseason game against the Raptors in Ontario.
Okay.
So we're sitting courtside, literally, like on, right there's this Michael, it's John, it's Amanda, it's me. And then Kobe does his thing on the table, and, he's putting the chalk or whatever it is. Yeah. And then he fist bumps everybody on the table. That's the first time he fist bumped me, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm excited. So I go home. I tell my parents. I tell my, cousins, friends, whatever.
Sure.
Later on in the season, we used to do, every time they win a game, we used to do a post-game interview. And, at that point, I look at John, and John tells me, "Hey, I want A, B, and C," right? That day, A was Kobe, and then I forget who the other two names.
B was Kobe, C was Kobe.
Yeah, and then I go down to John Black, and then he says, "Go stand by the bench." So I go by the bench, and I'm listening to the conversations those players are having down there, and then the game ends. John Black calls me over, and he says, "You got Kobe." Kobe comes over, and he says, "Kobe, you're with him." And then he's doing the rest of the PR people or whatever. He's putting players with the other people. That day, he's standing in front of me. There's a picture of me. If you guys look at my Twitter, that picture on my Twitter, that's the picture from that day.
That's right.
So that day, I hand him the headset. I said, "Hey, do you want me to hold the microphone or do you have it?" And he takes it from me. He says, "I got it." John does the interview. He finishes it, takes off the headset. He hands it to me, hands me the mic, and I tell him, "Hey, thanks a lot, champ." And he taps me on my chest. He's like, "You got it." And cool. I come back.
That's a great story. The big